What is good, y'all? Mikey T, the movie star, here, back with another exclusive podcast for y'all. And today, I got some interesting things to talk about. For the last 10, 15 years, we've all been talking about the Hot Boys reunion. That's right. The Hot Boys, they did their thing. They had two albums, one unofficial album that Birdman put out after all the group members started leaving Cash Money, aside from Wayne, who opted to stay with Cash Money when Birdman made him the president. So he didn't run away and sign with Jay-Z. I know y'all probably remember that. But we're going to get into it today because now that reunion that we've all been clamoring for, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. And it doesn't look like it's going to happen because of one of the most unlikely reasons. That's right. BG, the last incarcerated hot boy who came home just last year. So we all thought that was going to complete the puzzle. We thought BG coming home was going to complete that puzzle and we would get the return of the Hot Boys. But it doesn't look like it's going to be the case. And two of the Hot Boys that we thought would never beef are now beefing, you guys. There are major issues with BG and Turk from the Hot Boys. BG is letting off shots at Turk. He called the man the LaToya Luckett. The LaToya Luckett of the Hot Boys. BG, you are the Michelle, homie. You called Turk the LaToya. Let's move on. In reality, Turk is more of the LaToya because LaToya tried to move on and do her own thing as a solo artist. But we also are going to be talking about G Unit today, you guys, because 50 Cent, who we know went from making music to movies to television, has gotten a major endorsement. 50 Cent, who put up the second biggest production studio, has gotten a major endorsement from the man who put up the first biggest one, Tyler Perry, a man who has been evaluated at $1 billion. That's right. Curtis, formerly Interscope Jackson, is now on to bigger things with his G Unit production company. We'll see what happens with it because we know 50 has put out several television shows that the world loves. Power, all the Power spinoffs, BMF, For Life, that one little show that was kind of a failure on BET. This is 50 Central. It is what it is. Shows he could do a little bit of comedy. We're going to talk about all that today, you guys. Now, I've been following the Hot Boys story for some time. You know what I mean? I've been following it pretty much forever, since Juvenile was the hottest one in the group. And BG was known for the one putting out the street authenticated music. And Juvie actually had the hot crossover single that made Cash Money a household name. Lil Wayne would go on to become the biggest star that Cash Money ever put out. Hot Boy Turk, he kind of got screwed out of his situation. He got thrown in rehab. His album dropped while he was in rehab, and then it was the least performing album of all the Hot Boys members. So let's get into it, guys. Turk said this. He said, y'all want to come together because you're effed up. I'm not effed up out here. I'm blessed and highly favored. Y'all got me effed up to clear the record. I say F a Hot Boy tour, and that comes from me before I let someone disrespect me, homie. Disrespect will not be tolerated. Hot Boy Turk did nothing but show love and respect to BG while he was incarcerated. I did several interviews with Turk. I did an interview with Turk just months out of him being released from prison. And he actually had nothing but love for BG. He had nothing but good things to say about BG. Some things happened where Turk lost some respect for the Cash Money members. You know what I mean? Some things happened. He exposed some things out there. And I got a feeling that's what Birdman is holding on to. But let's be real about this. Birdman is not a member of the Hot Boys. The guy's not in the Hot Boys. Birdman was a solo artist, and Birdman was a member of the Big Timers. If Birdman wanted to have so much say in the Hot Boys, he should have put himself as the fourth member of the group rather than bringing in Turk, rather than trying to bring in his old cousin who had passed away. I believe there was going to be 5 members of the Hot Boys. Birdman probably thought he was a little bit too old, but we all know the real. Birdman has been playing that young guy since 1990 when he was probably 35 years old back then. Somebody check the dates. I'm just saying, Birdman was always trying to, fit in with the group when he was obviously older. Juvenile, yeah, he looked a little bit older than them too, but he was the one who was bringing the star power to the group. So Turk said some things right there. He said, I'm not effed up. I'm blessed and highly favored. Turk came out of jail and found his way after several years. At first, he obviously thought it was going to be from the music. Turk went, put his feet in the mud, and he got all the Hot Boys together and actually put Turk, Juvenile, in a verse from B.G. while he was incarcerated on a song called the Zip It Remix. So Turk got right to work, y'all. Turk got right to work on that shit. So for Turk to say F a Hot Boys tour, it can only be because he's getting disrespect. Turk is the guy that would put it all behind him and go and get the money. But don't get it messed up. A lot of people would always say, yo, Turk is the one who's the worst off in the group. Turk is the one who's the least talented in the group. Turk is the one that understands the internet the most out of the group right now. I'll say that much. Turk said B.G. better sit. B.G. better sit his ass down somewhere. He ain't doing nothing but running his mouth for real with them whack ass raps. That's why he has to play all these games. Hey, let's be real about it. B.G. came home from jail and he really hasn't released an album as quick as Boosie. He didn't release an album as quick as Gucci Mane. BG, what's the holdup? I'm reading all the reports about the feds saying you can't rap about snitches. Your first single ain't going to be called Snitches Get Stitches. I don't know why you got to make such a big deal about rapping about snitches. Let's be real about that. BG had an accomplice in the car with him that had no charges. BG gets a lot of flack for this because BG and another homie were riding around with a younger kid who had no charges on him. And basically, they got pulled over in a stolen car with a bunch of ratchets. Are you kidding? Like, what? You're BG and you're driving around in a stolen car, man. It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense. You have the ability to put out an album that sells tens of thousands of units, and you're going to be riding around in a liability. So then what BG gets a lot of flack for is that they wanted the kid with no charges to actually take everything for himself. So they all had agreed to put that on the kid. But then the kid was like, F that. They're trying to make me take the charges, and BG got hemmed up even worse for that. That's just to break that down for y'all. So this is where the major breaking news comes from. I mean, Turk went off on BG, but BG had some crazy stuff to say about Turk. BG said in an interview, a podcast that he did, he said, if you try to do a reunion without Wheezy, it wouldn't work. Without Juvenile, it wouldn't work. Without me, it wouldn't work. Let me address that at first. Let me address that first of all, BG. Because I got a lot of respect for you, BG. You and I, we've met each other. I was in the studio with you. You were writing your verse. I remember seeing you write your verse on the pad. You had that big ass cursive handwriting. You were smoking this big ass blunt that you passed to me. And you said, that's me. And I appreciated that, man. You know what I mean? I really appreciated that. I thought you were a solid dude. I've always been a fan of your work, but I'm just going to keep it real here with you. When Turk got released from prison, if Birdman and Turk were as good of friends as the general public thought, Cash Money could have done a Hot Boys reunion without you. It could have been Juvenile, Wayne, and Turk. You know what I'm saying? It could have been a Hot Boys reunion without you. So I think you're speaking a little bit much there. The fact of the matter is, Wayne blew up so much to the point that there was never even a chance for him to go back and do the Hot Boys group. It was like when Ja Rule blew up and had to leave the Cash Murder Clique. Cash Murder, Cash Money Click. And yeah, Leor Cohen, Def Jam, they were like, are you kidding me? You're gonna go back to do a group after you just blew up with Rule 336 and Veni Vidi Vici? No, we're not gonna clear you to go and do that. It wouldn't have been financially you know what I mean? It wouldn't have been financially correct. It wouldn't have been smart for Lil Wayne to go back and do a Hot Boys album and split his money 3 or 4 ways. Lil Wayne was blowing up majorly. Lil Wayne blew up so major, he became a superstar, the likes of 50 Cent, the likes of T.I., the likes of some of the biggest stars we ever seen, Outcast levels. Lil Wayne transcended every level that any of the Hot Boys never did. Even Juvenile would back that ass up. Slow motion. You know what I'm saying? Lil Wayne made it further than all of them. So for him to go back to doing a Hot Boys reunion, it just didn't make too much financial sense. Now, we've seen interviews with Lil Wayne this day and age after he made all the money, after he put out the Carter 2, 3, 4, you know what I'm saying? After I'm Not a Human 1, 2, the Prom Queen album, after he put out all these albums and he has basically defined himself to the general public, now we get these Lil Wayne interviews where he says, oh, the Hot Boy reunion, that's something I would always do. If I smelt that kick cooking in the kitchen, I'd be there and ASAP to get my plate. We hear Wayne say stuff like that nowadays. Wayne says that stuff nowadays after he's already had all this success. Now he can go and do quite literally anything that he wanted. So we hear Juvenile talking. And Juvie says that the Hot Boys album is on the way. Wayne does an interview conflicting with that. So who are we to believe? Back to the BG interview, though. BG said, but come on, man. And this is after BG said that there would be no Hot Boy reunion without Juvie, Wheezy, or himself. He said, come on, man. He's like the Michelle or the LaToya Luckett of the group. If Beyonce and Kelly do a Destiny's Child reunion and Michelle isn't there, nobody is going to miss her. That's just the way it is. That is the most incorrect thing I've ever heard. If Beyonce and Kelly show up to a performance without Michelle, it's not going to be Destiny's Child. It's going to be Beyonce and Kelly. I understand BG's been locked up since 2009. He doesn't too much understand this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to say another thing. Hot Boys is not Destiny's Child. There's almost no reason for a Hot Boys reunion. I'm just being real. Just like there's no reason for a Murder Inc. reunion. Nobody knows the group like that. Hot Boys is not Destiny's Child. And if Beyonce and Kelly came back, they would need Michelle for it to be a Destiny's Child reunion. I don't even know. I think maybe Hot Boys was Destiny's Child when like Jumpin' Jumpin' came out. Like, let's be real about this. These guys are over exaggerating what the Hot Boys were. Y'all are over exaggerating what the Hot Boys were. I'm not a hater, but I'm going to be real about that. Now he's comparing the Hot Boys to Destiny's Child. Now you're coming out here, you're saying Beyonce and Kelly are the Destiny's Child reunion? Listen, homie, I understand LaToya Luckett, she left the group before they blossomed into what they became. But let's not give conflicting reports of what the history really was. Hot Boys never did no Destiny's Child numbers. Come on, let's be real about this, BG. I know you've been locked up for 15 years, 12 and a half years, but let's not just go out there and incorrectly state things. So I had to clear up both your statements in that one. One, they would have did a reunion without you if Wayne wasn't blowing up to the level that he was at. Birdman would have reunited Wayne and Juvenile without a doubt, because Juvenile could have used that later on in his career after the gas ran out. And number two, Hot Boys, And Destiny's Child reunion could not be compared. Destiny's Child would perform at the Super Bowl. Hot Boys would not. I'm just being real here. I love hip hop. I love the Hot Boys. I love Destiny's Child too, though, man. Let's move on from there because I had to go off on that one. That is some straight BS right there. BG needs to go on and probably apologize about that bullshit. So Birdman did an interview in 2016 with Big Boy. I had got a couple notes from. Birdman had said, I didn't ever want the music industry to interfere with my son. I said I would quit before I would allow that to happen. To me, it really looks like Birdman didn't quit. Birdman just went and started trying to buy up all the contracts of people that he thought Lil Wayne might be interested in working with. That's why he brought Juvenile back to the fold. And they did that album that I don't even know if it came out. And now he's apparently doing a whole album with B.G. called Pac and Suge. I don't get it. If B.G. jumped on a record and said Birdman didn't have the money to sign me, why would you sign with Birdman to do an album? If Birdman doesn't have the $5 million that you want upon coming home to sign you for your album deal, why would you then go do another album with him? Oh, I don't got $5 million to sign you, but I'll pay you $1 million to do an album with me so I can get all the promotion that I was going to get out of you anyways. Like, come on, man. Don't let Birdman manipulate you just like he used to. His business mind is just too smart. BG coming home should not be doing a duet album with Birdman. The facade version of Like Father, Like Son. BG should be doing his own solo album. And if he needs something to propel him, he should have been doing the Hot Boys group album followed by a solo album. It makes complete sense. But instead, BG wants to jump on the internet and say Turk isn't welcome. Turk is out of the group. It doesn't make sense for Turk to be in the group. If Turk isn't in the group, it doesn't make sense for there to be an album. You're trying to do the whole Cameron, Jewels, Jim Jones thing. That's not what Hot Boys is. Hot Boys is not known as that three-headed monster where they just pushed Freaky Zeke out of the equation. Nah, that's not what it is. First of all, Turk and Wayne were some of the tightest friends. He told me about multiple stories they had sharing hotel rooms, and obviously Lil Wayne remembers that. Some things you just can't forget. Major respect to Lil Wayne as well for doing that interview where he basically downplayed all the lies that are being told on the internet. I can't stand that. I can't stand when these artists try to twist the fans' thoughts. I'm sorry, Juvie, but you came on the internet and said that the Hot Boys album was getting made. You messed with the general public. You might have done that to get some of them ticket sales for that tour you're doing right now. I appreciate that you and Turk have, rekindled your bond. You know what I mean? I appreciate that. And I hope it goes a long way. I hope it makes Birdman and BG say, all right, Juvenile's rocking with Turk. All right, Wayne's rocking with Turk. We got to rock with Turk. Only thing is, they need to Jerry Heller Birdman's ass out of the situation. Birdman, I don't know how he's still involved in the equation other than the fact that he signed Juvie and BG once again. Terrence Williams actually did a blog. He said it went down in New Orleans. Yeah, it did. The Essence Fest. He said he was happy to see the fellas on stage. We saw Lil Wayne do a set, and then we saw BG, Manny Fresh, and Birdman do a set. No Juvenile, no Turk. If Turk was on that stage, if Juvie was on that stage with you, Lil Wayne would have felt compelled to go out there. So Birdman came out and gave his speech of, I would never disappoint my city. I don't want to, whatever the hell he said. He doesn't want to, you disappointed your city. You disappointed your city because you went against your own team. If Lil Wayne saw you, Juvie, Manny, BG, Turk on that stage, he would have been compelled to go out there. It doesn't take a genius. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to see that. Birdman, you dropped the ball. I don't care if you say you didn't have a relationship with Turk. That doesn't make any sense that you didn't have a relationship with Turk. Who the hell has somebody signed to their label that they don't have a relationship with? You kidding me right now? The dude was from your own city. The dude went to school with the artist that you signed and you don't have no relationship with him? I don't believe that. I don't believe that, man. Why would he be in the Hot Boys if you didn't have a relationship with him? So you need to put aside whatever it is because BG, Manny, and yourself, Birdman, you guys looked like three flunkies on that stage. After Lil Wayne left the stage, y'all looked hella crazy on there. Y'all looked like the East Side Boys without Little John. Y'all looked like the Saint Lunatics without Nelly. Y'all looked like Cadillac Ty and Black Child without Ja Rule. Y'all looked like B2K without Omarion. Y'all really got put in that position to look like the bottom of the barrel type rappers. Nobody could even, nobody knew who the hell you guys were without Lil Wayne. You embarrassed yourself. And to take it a step further, people started leaving when you guys were performing. They started leaving. I noticed the chairs started getting empty. What is going on? As smart as Birdman is, he messed that up. As smart as Birdman is to get BG to do an album with him, to get Juvie to come back time after time after time. How did you drop the ball on that? All you needed to do was pay $5,000 to Juvie or whatever, $3,000-$4,000 to Turk to show up, or not, maybe not even pay them. Call them. I understand the festival said, oh, this wasn't authorized, this wasn't a promoted Hot Boys event. Doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be. People promote shows as 50 Cent, he brings out Lloyd Banks. People promote shows of Dr. Dre, he'll bring out Snoop Dogg. You don't necessarily have to buy the whole package. So they dropped the ball right there because Birdman, all he had to do was call Turk. All he had, DM Turk, hit Juvenile, say, yo, I'm going to send the jet, maybe a $30,000 jet. That's what it would have cost. I'm going to send the jet, but that's going to guarantee that we get a spot from Lil Wayne. And that spot from Lil Wayne is worth probably $1 million. So you just got a $970,000 discount just by inviting two people to the table. And in my mind, after Juvenile said that the Hot Boys album was coming, I thought, damn, Lil Wayne probably just went to the studio for one day, asked to hear every single one of the tracks, and did a freestyle for every single one of the tracks. So that's what I mean when I say that they're tricking us, the fan base. Like, I was led to believe all that after Juvenile made those announcements. That's why I'm a little bit salty about it. That's why I'm a little bit twisted, torn up about it, because it's so annoying how these artists lie to us and they juggle the truth. You know what I mean? I don't appreciate it, and I don't do it on my channel. I don't do it as the artist that I am. I come out here with truthful narratives. I don't come out here and spin the truth so I can garner interest in other things. But let's move on from there. Because Terrence Gangsta Williams is something else, man. This guy is something else. He's doing his thing. Salute to him. He said BG looked like he had a ball out there after BG sent hella disses at Turk. All the while, Terrence said that he was calling this. He said, they not going to mess with Turk. Turk's not going to be there. I mean, let's be honest though, a lot of people already saw that video of Birdman saying that Turk wasn't going to be a part of the reunion. You know, Birdman already made it pretty clear that he didn't want Turk a part of the reunion. He said names like BG, Juvie, Manny Fresh. It's almost like it's not even a Hot Boys reunion. It's almost like a Cash Money Millionaires reunion. But Birdman doesn't really get the marketing of it. And we saw the reaction to the big timers after Lil Wayne's performance. And that should be a pure indication that it's not time for the Cash Money Millionaires. The people want to see Lil Wayne come back with the group. The people want to see what Lil Wayne could do with this group. We never got too much of Lil Wayne with his other groups. You know what I mean? He had a couple other groups, but they didn't really ever release feature albums. He's done duet albums. But yeah, come on, man. Let's get this Hot Boys reunion. Terrence actually played a clip of BG where BG was saying he did a bunch of hoe shit. He can't take it back. You dig? They gotta blame themselves for not being here. He knows what he did last summer. And I'm gonna leave it at that. You dig? Know what I'm saying? I know one thing though. I'm in this bitch. Jizzle is getting to that bag. You heard me? Chopper City. You know what I'm talking about? Real Chopper City cash money shit. You're getting to the bag? What bag are you getting to? The Like Father, Like Son re-up album? Like Jizzle, you got to be smart about this. The whole world was anticipating this Hot Boys album. And I think the whole world was anticipating it a little bit longer than they should have. Because when we really should have gotten it was when Turk got out of jail. But unfortunately, you were incarcerated. That's when we were supposed to get it, because that would have reinvigorated your career. It would have put some more juice in Juvie's career. And that would have been the point in time when Wayne could have done it and given it the star push. It could have given it the star push that it needed to really put all these guys on. And now you got Birdman and Lil Wayne actually interested in doing this reunion. And BG is causing all this confusion because he's doing this random beef with Hot Boy Turk, talking about, I know what you did last summer. What? He got your family into a Lil Wayne show? Are you serious right now? Turk will sit at the crib and eat seafood. He don't give a damn. He went out to that Lil Wayne show to get your family in there. He created those shirts to create some awareness around your name, BG. There is not another hot boy that showed as much love to your case as Turk. Nobody else even mentioned you. Juvie didn't mention you. Wayne didn't mention you. Manny didn't mention you. Birdman mentioned you a few times, though, saying, oh, when BG comes home, we're going to get the deal right. But for a few years, Birdman let you be forgotten because you embarrassed Birdman. You had 30 gangsters on a porch scaring Birdman out of his own hood. That shit is hard to forget. And still he hasn't forgotten it. I doubt it. Because, in my opinion, Birdman signed BG to get to Wayne, to get back to Wayne, to get back to the cash cow. He wants another inventory. He wants more money coming in. You got Nicki, you got Drizzy, you got Wayne. If Wayne's involved with those projects, Wayne involved with Hot Boys, let's get some more money trickling in. It's an investment worth making. Hey, well, you effed up your investment because you didn't want to bring a couple guys on stage, and it would have took but a call and a jet to get them there, or just a couple flights. Whatever the case may be, all it would have taken was being honorable. All you had to do was be honorable to get there. And also, so I guess Terrence also says that BG is upset with Turk because Turk got on the phone with Wack and allegedly said he agreed BG is a cheese eater. All right. I never heard that. I never heard that Clubhouse, I would have to assume it was. I never heard that conversation with Turk and Whack 100, but I know there is a lot of false rumors going out there because even somebody like Whack 100 doesn't follow the music industry as closely as somebody like me. Maybe he follows like the dirt sheets, the blog sheets, and all that type of stuff, and the Clubhouse reports. And but maybe not, because every time he logs on the Clubhouse, he kind of sounds like he's amazed about what's going on. What that happened? Keep up to date with stuff, man. Like I said a little bit earlier, BG and his guy were in the car with somebody that had no charges on his record, no felonies. So all three of them actually made an agreement to try and get the charges placed on the kid with no felonies. And that's what BG told the police, I'm going to have to say. That's what BG and his accomplice, they all agreed that it was somebody else. And that's why BG is getting called a rat. They came to an agreement so BG wouldn't have to serve as much time. BG ended up getting screwed out of that whole situation. I think he got tampering with a witness as well. Y'all need to know the case. Y'all need to live through the case. Like, you guys didn't even live through this because Whack 100 was too busy driving trucks back when this was going on to even know what's going on. Like, you don't have any understanding of what's popping right now, man. Get in tune with the information. You don't even know BG like that. You don't even know his career like that. I interviewed BG probably a few months before that actually happened. Can't call something like that snitching. You can't call something like that snitching when a group of people agree, like, yo, you're gonna take the did they call Biggie a snitch when his homie took the gun charge for him? Like, what? Yeah, he told you that's his. Oh, he's a snitch now. You know what I mean? Oh, Jim Jones is a snitch because he didn't start a fight in the airport. Like, come on, man. Let's be realistic about this stuff. People just want to throw that label around. But yeah, I never heard that conversation with Turk and Whack 100. I might go search it. I might go see if that conversation actually exists, but I could not see Turk admitting that BG was a rat. Maybe I could see Turk breaking down the situation that BG and the other accomplice said that their other Cody had the weapons. I could believe that, but that doesn't mean he's saying that BG's a rat when all these dudes coming into an agreement. Terrence said, I would like to see Turk on there, but Baby stood on business. But Turk still has hope for the Hot Boys reunion. Birdman stood on business and it cost him. It cost him everything because rather than looking like a clown right now, Birdman would be looking like the guy who put the Hot Boys back together. Is there hope for a reunion? Yes, because Lil Wayne just did an interview and said that all the group members, I believe he said all the group members would need to be there. I believe he said that, but he definitely said that he didn't smell nothing cooking in the kitchen. He didn't even smell nothing cooking in the kitchen, you guys. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Moving on. The Essence show. I guess Turk feels a little bit disrespected by not getting invited there. But like I said, you can't really judge based on that because the people that were doing the Essence show weren't trying to throw a Hot Boys reunion. They were probably just trying to bring Lil Wayne and the recently released BG out there. Those are the guys that are actually popping right now. BG's got his name popping, but I mean, he got totally overshadowed by the big timers out there. Made no sense. Stand on your own 10 toes, BG. You know what I mean? We're not trying to see nostalgia when you come out to the stage, especially with what you've done, reinventing yourself on the scene with all these new records. Like, you don't need to come out there letting Manny and Birdman perform. It really makes no sense. And it really, I think, hurts you. It really hurts you because you're supposed to be preparing to release your own album, but it doesn't even look like that. So let me get to some comments here. Somebody on YouTube said, Wayne did right. Ain't no reunion without Turk. Yeah, like I said. Lil Wayne was not compelled to go on that stage. Lil Wayne almost probably felt like he had no reason to go on that stage. Like, okay, BG's coming back. This is BG's solo thing. He's getting the endorsement from the big bros. I don't want to overshadow that. But in doing so, you took a million less viewers off of it. It's like selling like 1.2 million compared to selling 230,000. But the homies would be happy to sell 230,000. You know, record sales aren't the same anymore. Salute to Wayne. Ain't no reunion without Turk or the others. Another person said, if there isn't Turk, there isn't a reunion. Wheezy, a real one for that. And someone even said, even though Turk runs his mouth too much, Wayne is right. Hey, man, you know what I'm saying? People are going to keep it real. You know, I'm going to keep it real on here. I'm going to read the comments. People say Turk runs his mouth a lot. Yeah, he does. But Wayne is right, because that's a brotherhood right there. The Hot Boys, it's a 4-man collective. Someone said Wayne was not the main character in the Hot Boys group. Wayne was the main character by himself. Dudes was riding to BG and Juvenile. Wayne popped off later. That's 100% facts. BG was actually the first one to pop off from Cash Money. Then Juvenile had the major success. Then Lil Wayne, years later, kept on putting out material and built himself into one of the most credible artists of all times. And then during the mixtape run he made himself one of the most incredible artists of all times. Then he sold 1 million first week because of that fan base that he built. Someone also commented, it was never a Hot Boys reunion. The fans ran with that. Essence never promoted the Hot Boys. If anything, just Cash Money. In another interview, Wayne said out of his own mouth that he hasn't spoken to anybody about a Hot Boys reunion. Boom, right there. That breaks it down. This was not promoted as a Hot Boys show. Lil Wayne has not been informed about the Hot Boys reunion. Lil Wayne is doing his own tours. He was just in Connecticut. He's doing his own tours, you guys. He has business to conduct. And if they want to properly go about doing a Hot Boys reunion, I guess you better contact Lil Wayne's people at Young Money, as he said on that stage. He is there representing Young Money. And it probably made Lil Wayne cringe a little bit as he was exiting the show and you heard the Cash Money Records. Like, don't be playing that when Lil Wayne is around. Don't be playing that Cash Money when Lil Wayne is around. He went through it with them guys. He went through it with Cash Money to the point where he's on stage now saying it's Young Money. He says it's Young Money. It always used to be YMCMB, but it ain't YMCMB no more, you guys. So let's get into this 50 Cent news, y'all. Let's get into it, man. Tyler Perry. That's right. The man who has been valued at $1 billion has given 50 Cent the ultimate cosign. It looks like Curtis Jackson is back on his route to becoming a billionaire. We all might have thought it would have been from creating a record label. You know, back in the day, it kind of looked like 50 Cent was making his own Def Jam, all the artists he was signing. You know, I think the only problem 50 really had was not separating himself from Interscope for the G Unit deal. You know, kind of like his op Rick Ross did, you know, doing the Def Jam deal for his solo albums, but then Atlantic and Warner for Maybach Music. I felt like if 50 would have taken his company to another label, he potentially would have had an opportunity to release more projects. You know, the stream of releases got a little bit clogged at Interscope Records to the point where 50 was able to release maybe 3 albums a year max, 4 at the most. Biggest year, The Game in January, The Massacre in March, Thoughts of a Predicate Felon in August, and the Get Rich or Die Trying soundtrack in November. Major year for G Unit. You know what I mean? They almost tipped the scale of releasing 6 albums a year. on some Master P type level label structure. But 50 didn't get to that point of his career, so he had to transition. He had to transition from music to movies, from movies to television. The movies weren't all that great. He's got a new movie out called Boneyard right now with Mel Gibson. You know what I mean? 50's movies would really usually be him acting alongside an older star, a Bruce Willis, a did he do John Travolta? He had John Cusack in a movie. He had Nick Cage in a movie. You know, he used all these old stars that really were past their prime. I mean, Nick Cage is doing his thing right now when it comes to movie releases. He did some stuff with Forrest Whitaker. I love Forrest Whitaker. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to add him to that list, but he was starting to do some stuff with like Bruce Willis and Ryan Phillippe and just a lot of these guys that were past their prime. And it was like, Fifth, I don't think that's going to be the way to success, you know? So 50 found another route. I guess it was Jimmy Iovine who told him, television. It's got to be television for you, 50. And you know what? That's the interesting thing, because when I was just talking about the music releases and how I wanted more than 4 releases a year, that means we want to see 50 Cent more frequently. That means Jimmy Iovine was right, because television is where somebody can see you once a week. And then after that, they can see you every day when it turns into reruns. So that's where 50 Cent found his niche in television. You know, a lot of people gave Madea hell. They gave Tyler Perry hell at the beginning. Oh, Medea's never going to work. This is a long shot. But let's be realistic about it. That movie series has now helped the careers of several musicians turned actors. Tiana Taylor being one of them. I seen her in one of Medea's movies. That was the first time I ever seen her. She was actually dating another musician in one of the movies, Bow Wow. So Tyler Perry has done a lot to prove himself in the game, from creating different series to also having the biggest studio, the biggest production studio. And that's where I think this relationship comes into play, because a lot of people said, oh, 50 has the second biggest production studio now. I think it might be called G-Unit Production Studios. I know his movie company was called Cheetah Vision. We'll see what he does with that, if he keeps it as a G-Unit thing in the future. Maybe he will, because that's what the brand is mostly known for. But this is going to open up 50 Cent to a lot. You know what I mean? It's going to open him up to a lot. Even, you know, filming his own shows, helping people film their shows. So it's about to get real lucrative for 50. 50 said, I was in Atlanta. I went to see Tyler. His layout, he's about 10 years ahead of everybody. From there, at this point, he said that shit you got is crazy. We were talking about the Power series. It's been number one in the African American households for 10 years. But he's going, how much are you paying for that? I said, I'm paying a lot. 50 also said, I'm not going to lower the quality of material I'm producing, but I've got to get into his deal structure. Now I'm moving in to be able to provide production. If it's not at my studio, I want it at Tyler's. That's a big thing right there. Tyler's production studio and 50's production studios could offer different things that each one wants to use to their advantage. So they could have a bartering system right there just between the two of them. These could become these are going to be two of the biggest production studios for filming TVs and probably movies in the future. 50 said, also another thing that caught my eye, now I'm moving into being able to provide production. He's a genius. He's a genius. So now his production is going to pay for itself. 50 said, yo, I pay so much money to produce these shows. I want the premier quality. I don't want to ever get rid of the quality that I have. I love 50's quality for the show as well. You know, the quality that he has for the show is just amazing. It looks so lifelike. You know what I mean? You get so immersed in it, you feel like you're a part of his series. You feel like you're right there with Little Meech. You know what I mean? Making every decision with him. You know, I really love what 50 does with that stuff. So I'm really intrigued to see what him and Tyler Perry can do together. You know what I mean? A lot of people are talking, oh, what collaboration are 50 and Tyler Perry going to make? I don't think it necessarily needs to be a production collaboration in that sense. They're going to collaborate just based on using each other's environment. You know, maybe even Tyler Perry could produce a couple of 50s ideas. Maybe we could go to that direction with it. Maybe 50 can get back into feature films. You know, maybe 50 could actually produce a couple films. Obviously, we've already seen Get Rich or Die Trying. 50 followed that up with a movie called Home of the Brave that he did with Jessica Biel and Samuel L. Jackson. Then he does Righteous Kill, where he starts working with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, which is where I think he kind of got his fascination to work with famed older actors. I don't know. I don't see much of the silver screen in 50's future as far as him acting in movies, but I could see him producing the movies as long as they take time with scripts, like they seem to be taking time with BMF and Power, you know, and making those storylines hit. Because those storylines hit major. I mean, look what happened at the end of the most recent series of BMF. Like right at the end of that series, I was like, 50 knows how to tell a story. You know what I mean? He knows how to either hire the right directors, hire the right writers, you know, whatever he's doing with that. I don't know the actual play by play. 50 did just say in a joint that he will stop giving his 2 cents and let all the people make bad decisions. He did say that, you know what I mean? But 50 he's a loose cannon. He'd be saying shit. So Tyler Perry actually said, I'm so proud of him, referring to 50 Cent. He's amazing and he's blowing it up out of the water. I'm super proud of him. And when asked about a collab, Tyler Perry basically said, if he wants to. Tyler Perry's open to it. I think Tyler Perry would take a script. I think Tyler Perry would take a suggestion of actors that 50 has used in the past. I think Tyler Perry would offer up selections to 50. You know, I think all that type of uh, interaction could happen between these two. But as far as them actually, you know, co-directing something, as far as them, you know, actually doing something along those lines, acting in something together, I don't see that. You know, I see more behind the scenes role of that because you notice a lot of these actors like a Jordan Peele or like you know, M. Night Shyamalan, a lot of these guys, or I should say Eli Roth instead of M. Night Shyamalan. M. Night just did it for his daughter, where he executive produced that new movie she did, The Watchers. But a lot of these directors, like a Jordan Peele, you noticed he didn't direct Candyman. Eli Roth, he actually, you know, puts a lot of directors in position while he executive produces. So maybe that's the role I could see Tyler Perry and 50 doing together, where they both executive produce something. So yeah, they could do something along the lines of directing, executive producing, but I don't think we're going to get like an Alex Cross type of movie where they star in it together. I think 50 is kind of beyond acting in films like that. Though I think the world would have loved it, but they just didn't make that much money when Get Rich or Die Trying came out, you know. Didn't and Eminem kind of shied away from starring in films as well. There was a movie that they were actually talking about doing together. It was Southpaw, and I'm actually glad they didn't do that together because I really wasn't feeling 50's role in that movie. Jake Gyllenhaal ended up playing the boxer, but 50 was playing kind of like a crooked promoter who was just getting his fighter to do fights for money, not even having any consideration if he wins or loses. If you haven't seen Southpaw, go check it out. I had heard rumors that Eminem was going to star in it. Very cool that 50 got the role, but ultimately I really wasn't feeling that role that 50 played. A little bit different though. You know, 50 ain't just the type of guy that jumps in a movie and plays a gangster. You know, we saw him in Escape Plan as a technical analyst for Arnold and Sylvester. You know, he tries to do something different, man, to make himself stand out. You know, so salute to 50 and Tyler Perry. I'm really hoping we do see some collaborations with them. Like I said, I think it'll be more on the bartering system with their production studios, possibly working with different actors, but as much as maybe them executive producing a movie together or executive producing a TV show together. We never know what could happen, man. But I think we're all going to look forward to it. You know what I mean? And I hope y'all enjoyed this podcast today. It's Mikey T, the movie star. If y'all want to follow me on the gram. It's Mikey T _ the movie star. Make sure you subscribe here on YouTube. Drop a comment. Let me know what city and state you're tapping in from or what part of this joint that you like the most. If you disagreed with me, agreed with me on topics, or if you like some of the films that I didn't like, just let me know in the comments, man. I really appreciate all the interaction. And like I said, if you want to follow back, it's Mikey T _ the movie star on Instagram. I'll follow everybody back that follows me based on this video. But I'm out of here, you guys. Stay tuned for the next one.